Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to this month's very special episode of Spread This Witches. I am here with some remarkable people, two of which you know already, and one of which you are about to meet if you don't know her already. We have a guest, that's correct. A very tantalizing, rather quirky, unique guest too. But first, I'm Avalon Cameron. I shall be your host today for Spread This Witches, and I'm going to introduce you. Well, I'm going to allow Chase and Allora to introduce themselves, and then we will together introduce our beautiful guest. So, who wants to go first? Chase?
Hello, everybody. My name is Chase, to Al's. I am I'm in the supporting role this evening as supporting role of Avalon, the host of Spread This Witches. Hello, everybody. Good to see you. Love you guys. Avalon. No, Allora.
Wow. Okay. And I'm going to say this because Avalon doesn't know what I'm talking about, but you guys will. But she has this big, beautiful crystal along her neck. And we just want to point out that she is the Flava Flav of witchcraft, y'all. If you know who Flava Flav is, you will understand this comparison.
It's tucked in between the cleavage. Snuggled between my magnificent bosoms. That is where it is.
So anyways, I'm Allora. It's nice to see everybody. If you are new to the channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, thank you, thank you. And if you want to show us some love, click the thumbs up button below and share this link wherever you can. All right, Abs.
All right, and now we shall introduce our beautiful guest for this evening / day, if you're in Australia time. She is a remarkable young lady that I stumbled upon on Instagram. And we just had this little conversation before, but the first thing that I did was comment on one of her extraordinary images and say, this must be a tarot deck. Tell me that you're making a tarot deck. Only to then discover through her response that she has already illustrated one. I was like, oh my God, the story just keeps getting so much better. And here she is. This is Miss Kiri.
Hey,
guys.
Would you like to
introduce yourself?
Thank you so much for having me on the show. I illustrated the Green Witch Tarot, which you can see here with Moura. And if you want to check out my work, you can see it at KiriLeonard.com, and that has links to all of my social media and all of that. So yeah, go there to check it out.
Yay! And all of her links are also in the description box below, folks. Check out her IG. Check out her IG. That's where I stumbled upon her. And this woman has skill. It's incredible what she does with a pencil. And then with paint.
Thank you.
It's amazing. If you are into like the forest fairy type images, the really unique and quirky, a bit of a nod to Brian Froud type of images, then you are absolutely going to love what she pencils out, what pops out of her pencils and paintbrushes. So I highly recommend checking out her art. And as she said herself, she did the artwork for the Green Witch Tarot, which means this woman has actually spoken to Moura. For those of you who are fans of witchcraft, you will know that Moura did the Green Witches series. She did Mansions in the Moon. She's done a few tarot books. She's done a few things, and she's been around for a very long time. So if you were a 90s witch like I was, if you were pre-internet, you would have stumbled across her books. So she's been around for a very long time. And these two have met and had that conversation and created something super beautiful together. So yay! Right. Well, we are going to launch into all that is Kiri in just a moment, but we have a little bit of news. We do. We have a little bit of news. And funnily enough, I left all the links to my news. I'm going to go first because it is my birthday in America still. Yes, that's right. Feel free to send happy birthday.
Should we sing happy birthday then?
It's really not necessary. But legit, I have beautiful thank you. Prime 166. She happy birthday to me. keep them coming, folks. I love it. I love it. Right. So I do have a bit of tarot news. Now, I'm going to have to, I've forgotten in which order I've actually written it, but that's okay because I did bother to link it. So the news that I have is relating to decks, a book, and an upcoming Oracle deck, which is a little bit special because it is by a fellow YouTuber. But first, I would like to bring your attention to the Threadbare Tarot, which is on Kickstarter at the moment. The link is in the description box below. It is beautiful. Like, beautiful. I can't even, no, yes, no, it's not even funded yet, folks. It's beautiful, though. It's so freaking beautiful. I think it's only 4% funded. 4%. It's new. There's also the Forgotten Tarot, which is another one in the process of being funded on a Kickstarter. This is a collection of relic type of photography and art, and it's a bit of a nod to the yesteryear. So there's a, I don't know, there's almost a, it's not steampunk, but it's kind of like a nod to steampunk where it's a little bit quirky in that way. So I highly encourage you to check that one out. That's the Forgotten Tarot, link again in the box below. Then this is the next one that I wanted to talk to you about. If you know who Lisa, Mama Lisa, the tarot alchemist is, then you will know that she has started working with an artist to make an oracle deck. And I happened upon an image on Facebook. But I have linked her YouTube channel in the description box so that you can connect with Lisa to ask her questions. If you're friends with Lisa on Facebook, then of course, feel free to ask her questions about this as well if you haven't already. But she appears to be launching into the creative side of tarot and oracle, which is beautiful. Next, I have news about the Bonestone and Earthflesh Tarot. I have completed writing the Suit of Wands, and I'll be starting on Pentacles. Anna is polishing off images as we speak. The creative, artistic, illustrative side of the deck is coming to an end, and all that will be left is writing and editing before it goes to print. So we're getting very, very close on the Bonestone, and I'm so excited. And then lastly, but by no means least, Ethany Dawn of Ethany Tarot of the Tarot Readers Academy is doing a book with Llewellyn that focuses on a very tricky subject when it comes to tarot, and that is understanding a tarot court. Now, I didn't mean to put it in exactly those terms because there is a book, believe it or not, called Understanding the Tarot Court. It is not the title of the book, but it is about the tarot court. It's about getting to know the tarot court in a modern construct. Ethany delivered a talk at, I do believe it was the Reader's Studio in New York about a year or two ago, and she was approached to write this book because obviously Llewellyn liked what she had to say, and it was individual and unique, as is Ethany, individual and unique. So I've linked her YouTube channel in the description box below. I went hunting for her website link, but it was a broken link at the moment, and I know that she's been having a little bit of trouble, so she's probably doing some work on that. But she's in the process of editing the book for that, the manuscript for that book. So that is it, guys. That is it for my news. All of the links are in the description box below because that's how I roll now. Super organized and amazing. Chase!
Hello, everyone. So my turn to give some news. So here's the deal. So you guys may have noticed Christina and I talking over in the chat. Well, for me, it's over there. For you guys, it's probably over there. Regardless, so you've seen Christina and I yelling at each other over in the chat. We have been trying to put together a time for our next Red Earth Rally, and I have to tell you, we have another Red Earth Rally in the books. It is coming this Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So please tune in for our next rally, por favor. And so we finally, it's been how long? Like, how long has it been since our last one? I'm really months, ridiculous, like too long.
Last year, a year ago, before my birthday. Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god. So, anywhooter. So that's in the books. Like that literally just like came to fruition like 2 minutes ago. So we're very excited for that. And moving along quite nicely through this deck as well. We put in a lot of work, and so we are very excited to show you guys what all we have done. I will be putting more work into it. Actually, Thursday morning, I have plans to meet with some people, talk about things to put into the deck. I won't give anything away. I'll save that for Thursday evening. And but I'll be doing that Thursday morning before the rally, so I'll have lots of good juicy news to share with you guys for that. And as far as my numbers and Kabbalah deck that I'm putting together, I'm almost done putting the deck together. The PDF file that I'm going to give out for free to all of you is done. All I have to complete is the creation of the deck, which I finally have the tool in order to do that. So I'm hoping to be done with that in the next week, and that will be out and free for you guys to peruse and to use at your leisure. And so I think that's all I have. Next.
Yay. And then we have Miss Allora with your news. Thank you too, Chase. Thank you. Lovely. And it's good to see that your Oracle deck is cruising along, even behind the scenes, because we know you're busy, and it's really hard for creators to get a move on and just to hook in and get it done all in one sitting, because many of us are juggling responsibilities. And so it's great to have a community that supports and understands that process, and that is grateful for the work that is being done. And grateful right there.
And he went away. What happened?
I think he clicked the wrong button. Or maybe I made him emotional and he cried. Let's go with that.
Okay, well, so before I get to my news, I just have to tell you why I was laughing during Chase's announcement. It's because this morning I messaged Christina D because you kind of ruined it, because what I was getting at was I was wanting Christina to schedule the next Red Earth rally and me announce it, and Chase go, what the that's my plan. But then she was like, I can't get him to nail down a date and da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, don't ask him, just schedule it. Then say, are you available for this time? And she was like, okay, I'll do that. And then she was like, we have a new Red Earth. I like him to give advice on how to manage Chase, like how to get him to do what you need him to do.
Listen. I feel like this is unfairly leaned against me here, and I'm taking it very personally. But the deal is, I'm a very busy human being.
I know you are.
I have to, I have a very small window, and this is, outside of all of my spiritual life, too. I have a very small window where things can happen in, and sometimes that window closes, and so I'm like, well, shit. I'll wait for the next window. And so if things don't just line up exactly the way they're supposed to, then shit just doesn't happen. And it's unfortunate and it's sad and it makes me look like an asshole. But that's my life. No. That is my life.
No, but the whole point, my whole point behind saying you just need to schedule it is because I know you're that busy. So you just need to put it in the books and then be like, hey, are you available? No? Okay, we can move it.
Right. No,
Let's
absolutely.
go back and forth.
And she's absolutely correct. That is exactly how it works. And the thing is too, because once it's scheduled, I have to be well, shit, I have to make it work. So then I have to, because it's pencil, it's official. So I'm like, shit, what am I gonna do to make it work? So that is pretty much on my life.
Well, the only thing, and I'm sad to say that I don't have any huge news or anything. The only thing that I would say I have for news is I'm still running the Elemental Witching Mentorship Workshop Program. There are 3 slots available, and I really love how it's going so far, because the people that I have so far that have signed up for it and are currently working through it, it's interesting because there's a group on Facebook that's a secret group that you get to be in if you want to exchange your experiences with the other people in the program. You don't have to. But they both have chosen to do so. But it's interesting because in there I get to just casually talk to them. And I asked them what was probably the biggest revelation they've had since starting the program. And they both said that they didn't realize how much the elements play into our lives until they started working through the program, and now they said, you know, everywhere they turn, they're constantly, oh, this is an earth moment, or this is a fire moment, or this is an air moment, or you know, et cetera, et cetera. So there are 3 slots open for that. If you are interested, definitely hit up Raw Magic Sorceress page because it's on there. And you can also message me or email me, and I'll give you all the details on that as well. So, and I know that our special guest, Kiri, had some news as well. You were talking about a deck on Kickstarter, so tell us about that.
So Sam Gay, who is a fellow illustrator friend of mine, she is working on something called the Blood Moon Tarot, and she's been working on it for over a year. She's been funding the process of doing that through Patreon, but now it's about to hit Kickstarter. So that's going to go live sometime this month, but you can find it online at samguay.com. It's SAMGUAY.com. The Blood Moon Tarot. It's a really beautiful deck. And then I don't know if you guys are familiar with 78 Tarot. It's like a project they put out a tarot deck every year. And one of the creators or founders of that, Katie Welsh, is currently running her own Kickstarter for an Animantra Chakra Oracle deck, also on Kickstarter. So that's worth checking out. Really, really good stuff.
I think you just surprised our host here.
I just Googled it. As you said it, I Googled it. And
which one of them?
Oh my God, I feel so excited. If you like Marielle, the Marielle Tarot, one of the cards, I want to say it's like the 7 of Wands, maybe. One of the cards is like this. Go and have a look for yourself. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to influence you. I'm reaching for my Marielle, though. I don't want to influence you.
Other than that, Deborah Blake and Elizabeth Alba have signed with Llewellyn Worldwide to do a oracle deck as well. They put out a tarot deck about a year ago called the Everyday Witch Tarot, and now they're doing an oracle deck together.
Ah, that's exciting. Yes, I'm convinced it's very Marielle. I'm still looking for that one image.
Kiri, do you know if the people who did the Everyday Witch Tarot, if the oracle deck they're creating is a companion oracle, or is it just a new project altogether?
I think it's a new project altogether.
Interesting. Oh my gosh.
The same illustrator is also looking to do an oracle deck with Tamora Pierce, but that's not confirmed yet. That's just they're playing around with ideas for it.
Oh my gosh. Grin said if Shadowscapes and Marielle had a baby.
I know.
Talking about the blood.
This is what it reminded me of. This is the one. It's the Wheel of Fortune. Who was I thinking? Who do I think I am?
Oh, yeah.
It's a little bit, but as I'm flicking through, that was the one that reminded me of it. But as I'm flicking through, I'm like, oh my God, no, it is. It's very, very reminiscent of Marielle. It's still its own flavor, but it's very reminiscent of Marielle. And Marielle is one of the decks that I have 2 copies of. One, because it's an autographed copy, because I love the Marielle and I want to edge my Marielle, but it's the big boss, so I haven't taken pen to card yet. I'm so excited. Thank you, Kiri, for letting us know about that. That is incredible. I had never heard of this artist. Is it a male or a female? Sam is a bit of an ambiguous female. Okay.
Yeah, she's really lovely.
Wow. And how did you 2 meet? Have you just been following each other online? I feel like this should be a story.
So, I'm part of the whole fantasy illustration community, and every year we meet at an event called IlluxCon. And that's how I ran into Sam, because she was exhibiting her beautiful artwork there. And then we just started talking, and now we're friends.
That's so exciting.
Has she done any prior tarot or oracle projects?
No, this is actually her first big project that she's doing on her own. I had suggested that she pitched it to Llewellyn when she first started, but she really just wanted kind of the freedom of just completely doing her own thing. So that's why she ended up doing the Patreon instead.
That's really interesting. Well, I would like to ask you, Kiri, how did you find the process of, essentially being an illustrator for Llewellyn, which is quite a prominent mind, body, spirit publisher, if not the most prominent mind, body, spirit publisher. You walk into any bookstore and you will find Llewellyn books and Llewellyn decks in these bookstores. It is the status quo almost.
Yeah.
And
so when I signed on with them, I had no idea how big they were. I wasn't familiar with them at all. So I was just like, oh, this sounds like a fun job. They were really, really nice to work with. The editor, Barbara Moore, was the one I first spoke to, and she's just the sweetest person.
Sorry, did you say Barbara Moore? Did you say Barbara Moore?
Yes. She's really nice. So I worked a lot with her, and then I worked with Lynn Mentorek. I don't know how to pronounce her surname, who's the art director. And yeah, it was really fun. They're really nice to work with, really sweet people. And then, of course, with Anne. So yeah, it was so the process when you're doing a tarot deck, the author, so me as an artist, I don't have a whole lot of input. It's pretty much all on the author. So the author provided me with a list of descriptions for all of the art that went on the deck. So she'd send me a description of like, there's a woman who is sitting inside this cottage. She's holding a baby. In the foreground, there is like an older man with a, what's it called? Wreath on his head, walking away with a reindeer. So I got very detailed descriptions, and from that I created the artwork. So I didn't have a lot of input on what imagery actually went into it. All of that was done by Anne Moura because it had to align with all of her books.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's all based around the whole green witchcraft.
Okay, I'm going to pause you right there because I want to talk about this a little bit, because this is an issue that I have seen play out in the Bone Stone as you've been creating it. So a lot of people get upset with the way that things are depicted because it's not what they would do or whatever. And then they want to go to the artist and say, how come you didn't change that? This is why, right here.
This is why, because the artist has no say.
Well, the artist is trying to help the author realize their vision.
Yeah.
And many
and that's
artists.
Your job as an illustrator. I mean, actually, that's the difference on being an artist and being an illustrator. If you're an artist, you're doing your own thing. If you're an illustrator, you're doing someone else's thing.
But that's not to say that, because I have seen artists create their own decks, and then I have seen them create decks for others. Yeah. But I think that's a really important thing. If you are wanting to put your art out there for the sake of tarot and oracle, you have to be willing to create art for an author.
Yourself. Yeah, either you work with an author or you can do it yourself, but then you have to do all the writing too. So you're going to need even more time to do it.
That's very interesting. That is very interesting. Yes. Kiri, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Bone Stone and Earthflesh Tarot deck, but it's one of the tarot decks that I'm working on at this moment in time. And I'm the writer for the deck, and I'm the creator. Like, it's my idea that's going into play. I'm working with a beautiful illustrator, an artist illustrator named Anna Turian. Now, Anna has her own decks. She's got several decks under her name already, but she is illustrating my deck for me and doing a phenomenal job. She's an incredible human being.
Wonderful.
It is. It's a beautiful thing. But we constantly get asked that question of why, the whys and the hows of the artist side of things is potentially one of those issues that we sort of encounter the most. And then this supernatural right that an individual has to then approach an artist separate to the creator and say, I don't like spiders. Can you take that spider out for me, please? Because I don't know. We've experienced some things during the creative process, and some of these things it's a laugh out loud type of moment, because what do you say to that? Like, what kind of, have you received any personal criticisms about that deck in any way?
Oh yeah. Mostly that all of the people in it are white. And that was a deliberate choice from Anne Moura, because the Greenwich Tarot is set in old Europe, specifically in England. And that's why she chose to go with like an all white. And I had earlier on, we were talking about it because I had suggested that we made like more diversity with the cards. But what she envisioned for it was just that it was an all Caucasian because it was set in old Britain.
Yeah,
and I've gotten a lot of flack for that one, and I'm like, that was not my choice.
It's it's a very individual thing these days. I was recently criticized on the fact that my lover's card was depicted as typical male and female. Yeah. And I said, well, yeah, when I think of the lovers, I think of, it's my deck. So when I think of the lovers, I think of loving relationships as well as co-creative relationships. And for me, that's my husband. My husband is a man. Yeah. That's my reality. And so, I get criticized that there's not diversity or enough diversity. We've got quite a bit of diversity, I'd like to say.
But symbolistically also, you have the male and the female energies, which, take part no matter what kind of relationship you have, whether you're woman, male, or you're going to have those energies. And that's in that card too, right? Like the lovers.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right. It's that complementary energy, one to the other. And because we've chosen to go sun and moon, both are genuinely depicted as sun being masculine and moon being feminine. Yeah. So yang and yin. And that's sort of the way that it went. But, it's a criticism. And I think
it's ever the challenge in this day and age because there's so much focus on that stuff in the media right now, and it's like you can't please everyone and you can't depict every single version there is of something. There was a tarot deck that came out, the Spellcaster's Tarot, which is illustrated by Scott Murphy. And the author is Melanie Marquis. Mm-hmm. And that is an extremely diverse deck, but it didn't sell very well. And Scott got a lot of criticism for how diverse that was. So it's like, no matter what you do,
You're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Yeah.
So, well, I thought it was beautiful. I have it here. Yes. I only unboxed it the other day. This is the deck itself. It's a beautiful deck. Yeah. Came in a great box.
So he's the husband of Elizabeth Alba, who did the Everyday Witch Tarot.
And it's interesting that we're having this conversation right now because this is also something that we talked about yesterday in my creative writing class. Because the subject yesterday was writing for the self and other. So how do you write from a cultural perspective that you don't come from? Is that a no-no? Is it taboo? But at the same time, like our writing professor was like, of course you do it. Because if if people stop trying, then you're not putting yourself in someone else's shoes. You lose the empathy, you lose the feeling in your writing. And so, I think it's similar when we're talking about tarot and oracle because, it's a tightrope to walk, I guess, because like on the one hand, like you do want to incorporate experiences and things that you haven't necessarily that you aren't necessarily yourself, but then at the same time you have to balance that against I don't want to say everyone's opinion or whatever, but there are certain things in historical memory that are painful for different groups of people.
Absolutely.
So but we shouldn't stop trying.
We should always strive to do better, and we should always strive to, be inclusive and represent as many different, cultures and people and experiences as possible. But there is just a limit to how much you can do. And sometimes what's near and dear to your own heart is oftentimes stuff that you've experienced yourself, and you can really express that so much clearer than stuff that you just imagine. So that might be why we do like a go-to of like, oh, this is what I'm used to, so this is what I tend to do all the time. But so it's good to challenge yourself.
But it also works in reverse as well. So if you stick to what you know, and it's all about, even with writing, it's about intent. And so, you never know, like an author can intend one thing and a reader can interpret it another way. Same thing with art, same thing with tarot decks. Yeah. There's no way to account for all of those different interpretations.
No, not
everyone's going to be happy.
But that's just,
exactly
I think it's down to being on the internet too, you know, because the internet stuff that's on YouTube is going to get seen by people all over the world from all sorts of different cultures. And there's going to be the question like, hey, why is my culture not represented? Or why is my experiences not represented?
And that's exactly right.
Yeah.
This is one thing that I like to say. I did an unboxing of a beautiful deck called the Empower. Here we go. It's right behind me, so I may as well grab it. It's called the Heal Yourself Reading Cards, right? And it was critiqued because there wasn't a lot of diversity. And the one card that did kind of embrace a little bit of diversity as far as culture goes, it was depicted in a much more tribal sense. And that was a little bit offensive to, you know, to Indigenous people. And so, you know, I understand that that is the case. I do. But I also think that whoever created this deck, the artwork for this deck, created what they knew. They created what they understand. That's where their expertise went. And so I think that this is why we need more creative people. We need more people who see what is missing, what is lacking, and then try to fill the void from a point of passion, because passion is a beautiful thing that can really create amazing content. And so if an individual, you know, pinpoints a lack of diversity in any way, shape or form in a deck, then that should be the inspiration necessary for that individual to say, well, nobody's doing it, so I'm going to do it. And
Absolutely.
so I think that before people open up their mouths to critique, they have to understand one thing: how would they do it, and could they do it, and why haven't they done it? If they don't see it, then why haven't they done it? And rather than put something very negative out there, they could be in a very creative mind space, producing something that is of iconic status because they saw a gap. So that's my opinion on that, something or other.
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, it's tough because too, if you like, I've been in the situation too where I've done illustrations of, you know, stuff that I'm not, you know, personally have experienced, and then you get the opposite critique where people are like, oh, you can't portray that because you're not from that background. So it's like, I can't win either way. No matter what I do, there's gonna be people that are like
well, I'm glad you brought that up because I want Chase to kind of talk about this a little bit. So Chase is Choctaw, Native American, but and his oracle deck is going to be heavily Native influenced, but he's gotten mud slung at him so often because he's not dark enough. Like, people don't believe that he's Native, but he is. And so, you know, this is something else that we were talking about yesterday in writing class too, because there's a guy in there who is Chinese, and he says to the teacher or to the professor, he says, if I write something about Chinese culture, people are automatically going to buy into it, even if it's crap, because I am Chinese. But if he were to research and know what he's talking about and write about Chinese history and culture, nobody's going to give him credit because he is white. So, I mean, this is coming out of his mouth. So Chase, talk about that a little bit. Talk about what it's like to be from a culture but not be given credence because you don't look the part.
Let me open it with this. So the thing that I wanted to say a little bit ago that I didn't want to interrupt because the conversation was going so damn well. Here's the thing about creativity. So we are allowed to be creative as humans. We are allowed to explore as humans. We have that right as humans. Nobody can tell us that we cannot. And here's the deal. The intention of the person creating or exploring has to be genuine. And really the only person that can dictate whether that's being genuine or not is ourselves. And so that's where there is a disconnect between us as the creator and other people as the observer, I guess, because the observer doesn't have any control over that, and they don't. They assume that they know more than they do. They've given themselves more power than they actually have. And again, going back to the creator being genuine, if you are genuinely creating something out of genuine interest or something that you're passionate about, something that excites you, then there is nothing wrong with creating that. There's nothing wrong with it. And you know what? Even in that, if something came out offensive in some way whatsoever, such as you represented a headdress incorrectly, or, coming from my culture, if you misrepresented a headdress or whatever, I think the problem that we have, and the biggest disconnect that we have in culture right now, is that people that it does not affect get offended first. And I think it's important that those people need to ask the people that should be offended, whether they're offended first, whether they get offended for them. Like, we just love to stand up right now and be like, that's not okay. Well, like an example that I have, and this is going to be so fucking random, but okay, so I think it was like the last part of last year, Ellen DeGeneres put out a tweet or whatever looking at Katy Perry's breasts, and it offended everybody. But you know who it didn't actually offend? Katy Perry. She didn't give a shit. So why is everybody else giving a shit if Katy Perry doesn't? Like, and that's the culture and that's the mindset that we're sitting in right now, and that's stifling so much creativity. And the reason, getting into the topic that Allora asked me to speak on, like, it is stifling so much creativity because people are not afraid to express themselves, and more importantly, they're afraid to express themselves in ways that they are competent and knowledgeable about, which is wrong. It's so wrong. If you have the knowledge and you have the want to create this thing, then let them. Do not stifle creativity because you're going to be offended by something stupid, by something that you probably should not be offended by. It's somebody expressing themselves. And to wrap all that up before I actually get into the topic I'm supposed to be talking about, if it is, at the end of the day, if like it is art, we are creating art. We can create art by writing, by drawing, by snapping pictures, we create art in many different ways. What that art is supposed to make you do is it's supposed to make you think, and it's supposed to create feelings within you, and it is supposed to make you react. That is the purpose of art, is to make us react and grow and do these things. And if it's not doing that, then it's not doing its job. And so the fact that you are reacting to it in a way maybe that you don't see fit or proper or whatever is not the point. The art did its job by making you react in some kind of way. So it is doing exactly what it's supposed to, and it's doing exactly what the creator wanted you to have done looking at that art. So, you can't sit back and, again, be offended by somebody who is in this creative process expressing themselves in a way when you aren't. You just can't.
Yeah.
So, anyway, talking about the perspective of, so for those of you that don't know me, so again, I'm a little newer. We were discussing this too. It has been a year since my what is it? What's the word I'm looking for?
Debut.
My debut, yes. I was looking for initiation is the word I was looking for. My initiation into the SCW tribe. So for those of you that don't know me, as well as Allora and Avalon, because I've been doing this for years. But so I am Choctaw, and I am extremely proud. I don't know if you can see my eyes. They are Native American brown. They're about the only thing that I inherited from my grandfather. My grandfather is full-blood Choctaw. He is a beautifully red-skinned. However, for some reason, my mother turned out to be very pale-skinned. She is white, and so therefore, I am also white. If you did a DNA test, I don't know, again, what percentage I would turn out to be, but I am enough Native American that I could get scholarships for school and blah, blah, blah. So I am, for all intents and purposes, I am Native, and I am super proud of my heritage and where I come from and all the amazing things that my grandfather has done, and my grandfather before him, and my grandmother. I'm very proud of that heritage, and it means so much to me. And the fact that people would, so when I very first started this channel, explaining myself and where I came from and who I was, people would tell me, you can't be that because you're white. Like, I'm sorry, do you know me? Do you know my story? Do you know where I came from? No, you don't. And I'm trying to sit here and educate you on this, but instead of listening and taking the opportunity to be educated, you're attacking me, which you're stifling creativity, which is like, it's stupid. Like, just sit back and actually open your ears and close your mouth for once and actually learn something and understand something about someone who you may not know. It's a technique and a tool that we are forgetting how to do these days. Everybody is just so sitting in this offended space. And so anyway, getting back into, I could get back on the other topic, but I won't. I could talk all day. But it is very interesting to sit in, and I honestly, as much as I have pissed people off talking about Native American tradition and things that I shouldn't know about because I'm white, I wouldn't change anything, because this has given me a super interesting perspective, because I can, oh God, I don't know what words I can use. Like, I can sort of use my white privilege in ways that I can explore my Native American side, if that makes sense, and in reverse. So I can kind of use both to put myself into a place where I can learn some really interesting perspectives. You know, I can go on to, so I moved here to Oklahoma so I could get closer to an actual like tribe, Choctaw tribe. They live here. And so this is where my life took me. And so I can walk on to, you know, native land, and, you know, they can see me immediately as white. And then, you know, I get things thrown at me, or they don't understand why I'm there. And then once they sort of learn who my grandfather is, they're like, oh, my bad. And so then I get to see it from that perspective too. And I can, you know, just as easily go into, I don't know, hell, walk into a grocery store and tell somebody I'm native, and a white person was going to be like, shut up, you're white. You know, like, I get to see those perspectives that, you know, a full blood may not see, or, you know, anything like that. And so I wouldn't change it. And it's not hindered me at all, obviously, because I'm making a Native American inspired deck. It has not, if anything, it has helped me. So, yeah, I wouldn't change it, but it is definitely an interesting perspective.
It's,
for sure.
Yeah. Look, Chase, I resonate a little bit with what you say, because I'm Brazilian born and raised, and I'm a ghost. I'm white as a ghost. And I have had such incredible experiences. So, saying to people, where are you from? Oh, I'm from Brazil. No, where are you from? I'm from Brazil. No, you're not. Like, yeah, I am. Fucking bullshit.
My gosh, did you see that one comment on that video that you and Joey did? I almost lit into that person. I was like,
oh, she's about as Brazilian as Olivia Newton-John.
I was like, this bitch right here did not just say that. Like,
oh, you know, some people just need to show their moron ways, you know, more verbally than others. And
good Lord.
Yeah, that was a really, you know what, I love talking to Joey about that. I love talking to Joey, but I often get asked to do videos about the Orisha. I often get asked to do videos about my family tradition. I get asked to do videos where I teach witchcraft. And the reason why I don't do those types of videos is because I don't want to deal with the types of comments that I get whenever I put content out there that is of that nature. So more recently, I've had in the vicinity of like 300, 400, maybe 500 requests. Now they're piling up. The requests are piling up to do beginners witchcraft, to do beginners tarot, to do all these sorts of things. So I am going to find a different platform in where I can do that and feel like I'm safe and respected, because I don't feel safe and respected talking about those things here on YouTube. I simply don't. And that's how I feel. So I do my things on YouTube, and, you know, I'm creating a tarot deck on YouTube, and I understand now that I've created that tarot deck live with an artist on YouTube, that if I was to make another tarot deck, I'd also be looking for another platform to do that, because of, you know, the things that people have said and the way that they've chosen to voice themselves, and the audacity.
Have really thick skin on YouTube.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Now, I'm not complaining. I'm not going to go ahead and I'm not going to complain, and I don't bicker and I don't backlash and I don't get all upset about it. But because I'm an adult and I've placed myself in the position of creator, and I've put myself on YouTube, and I've opened myself up for specifically that. I've opened myself up to the world. And so it's up to me then to understand where my boundaries lie, and to do the type of works or to share the type of content that lies within my boundaries. And anything with that outside of that needs to be delivered in a far more sensitive, far more intimate capacity. So, and I think that, you know, bringing this back to tarot specifically, tarot is art. It is subjective. Art is subjective. And so if you stumble across a deck with images that really trigger you, I'm going to go ahead and say something that might potentially be controversial, but that's the deck for you. Don't run away from it. Don't complain about it. Don't criticize it. Work with it. Another thing that I would like to say is cultivate active listening. People are far more prone to talking and not actually listening. If you truly, truly listen to another individual, if you truly listen to what somebody is saying, you can feel the sentiment, you can feel the art, you can feel the sincerity, you can feel the wisdom, the love, the passion, all of those things. If you listen, if you actively listen, not listen just because of a gender experience or a sexual experience or a race experience, but actively listen to a human being talking, then you might actually come to understand one fundamental truth, and that is that we all have wisdom to share. We are all uniquely beautiful. We are all artists and creatives, and we are all trying our absolute best. So give people the opportunity to express themselves freely in whatever capacity they seem to want to express themselves. And by all means, sit down, have a cup of tea, and just listen. Just listen. That's my public service announcement for today.
And it's a good one. The other part of that too is that the other thing that I wanted to say, the part that we like, people love to criticize people and they love to put out negative energy. It is just like people thrive on that. They love it, which is just so much wasted energy. It's so much wasted energy. And you know, the easiest thing to do and the most adult thing to do, if somebody the way that they teach or the way that they create their art, the way that they represent themselves, if that jives with you, then by all means, give them that energy. Give them your energy. Connect with that energy. And you know what? If it doesn't, that's okay. Then just don't give them any energy. Like, having to waste time giving them negative energy isn't going to make them stop doing what they're doing. It's not going to make you feel better. It's not going to make them feel worse. Like, you're not doing anything by being that negative energy and by criticizing them. You're not doing anything. So it would just be easiest and the most adult thing to do. Again, if you jive with them, cool, jive back. If you don't, then walk away from it. Simple, easy.
That's it.
But no matter how many times I say that, it'll still happen. We'll still have the people that go out on YouTube with negative people things, or, you know, whatever.
That's
but yeah.
It's a thing. It's a thing, folks. It's a thing. And it's probably going to be a thing until people just, I don't know, they grow up and they start to listen. That's as simple as that. Now let's get to Kiri. Kiri, tell us about, I can't believe we forgot to mention this. This is the most exciting portion of this experience here today. Kiri does not read tarot. Kiri did the artwork for a tarot deck, but upon conversation, she knew what tarot was, but she wasn't a reader, and she didn't have a massive collection of decks, and she's not an authority on tarot, but she's done this beautiful artwork for this tarot deck. And so Laura and I just got so excited because Kiri would be the absolute, Kiri, I'm talking directly to you now. You would be the best person to try out intuitive tarot on. Now you've got the upper hand in the sense that you'd be using a deck that you've created, so you understand the symbolism that's in there, and you've taken a part in the creative process. But there's no fundamental tarot learning there. You've not studied the art of tarot. You've not done these types of things, and so you would make a tremendously beautiful intuitive reader, in my humble opinion. And I want to test that out. I want to test out this theory. I'm so excited.
But we're going to help.
Please. That's it. We'll help, absolutely. But Kiri, can you tell us, please, what your process for creating the Green Witch's Tarot was? How you came to connect with Llewellyn, how they found you, how the experience of working on a tarot deck, which is something that you've never really, considered prior to this moment. And now you're in a community of fantasy artists where you connect with other individuals who are also illustrating and creating beautiful decks. So how is that intro into tarot been for you from a creative perspective?
So I was commissioned to do the Green Witch Tarot back in October of 2013 was when I first spoke to Llewellyn. And at the time, I was really new to freelancing. I was fresh out of school and just kind of getting my feet wet as a freelancer. And it was this massive project. It was one of my first really serious jobs, so I was really excited about it. But I also had so much to learn. So getting involved with the job, like I got to set my own deadline, and I think I set it too short for what, like, going back with the experience that I have now, I would have liked to have more time. When I was calculating how much time I needed, I forgot about weekends. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll do a new card every 5 days for a year, no time off. And yeah, that was not a great choice. So it got, like, the process, there was a lot of mood swings where I was really excited about it and really loving it. And then I had like a while where I was having a really hard time because it was so much work, and I just felt like, oh, it's too much. I can't do it. I'm not going to be able to make my deadline. It's not going to be good enough. And then I got excited about it again. So there was like a lot of ups and downs in it. And then, but like the publisher and Moura were so nice to work with. So that really helped to, you know, make the process easier. So when putting together the deck illustrations, so at first, as I mentioned before, I got a stack of papers that were descriptions of all of the cards from Anne, and they were really detailed. So the nice thing about that was that it was very easy to put the sketches together because I knew every little element that needed to be in the cards. The thing I struggled with a little bit was that I didn't have a creative input, you know, other than the colors. You know, I couldn't be like, oh, I think it would be cool if it was like from this point of view, or there were more characters or less characters. And that took kind of a while to, you know, suppress your artist and find your illustrator.
It's interesting. I liked what you said before regarding an illustrator means that you're working for someone else, an artist means that you're creating for yourself. And that's a really interesting way of looking at it, because you can sometimes know someone. Take, for instance, I'm going to use Anna as an example again, but Anna has been the artist for her own deck, and she is the illustrator for my deck. So that's the best example that I can give. And she gets a lot of questions going, well, why isn't Anna exalted in the titles, or why isn't she? And I've had to say, because I've actually paid Anna to recognize my thoughts and opinions and realize my dream of a deck through an artistic medium. And so I'm really appreciative of the fact that you've pointed that out. So you were this. I'm so in love with your artwork on IG. I've looked at it. It pops up in my feed, and I'm just like, I have to stop to just give it a love heart every time I see it, because I'm just like, this is stunning. And you know, I wish, I'm like many, mind you, but I wish I could draw like that. I wish I could create like that. Where does it come from? Tell us your inspiration.
It comes from, it's not magical at all. It's 25 years of hard work. Drawing, more drawing, lots of drawing. I actually did a video on, so I have a artist blog on YouTube, and I did a video that's called How I Learned to Draw. And you'll be able to see my drawings starting out from I'm like 4 or 5 years old up until the stuff I'm doing today. And you can kind of see the progression. And it took me, I'm not a fast learner, I will admit that. So it took me many, 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 many years before my artwork got to a point where it was actually good. It's only been within recent years that it's gotten to that point.
It's incredible. It's incredible. But you must have had, like, I'm going to call it a burning passion, because not too many people have the tenacity these days to chip away at a skill, refining it over decades. Like, that's something, like, you have to have a burning desire to truly want to excel in that field. And so you must have had that passion. Like, the passion for art must have been already there.
Yeah, when I was a child, like I loved drawing, like I loved creating my own world, but I didn't realize at the time that it was something you could do for a living. And I thought that art was all about just having this inherent talent, and if you weren't born with that talent, there was no way to get better. So I remember being 19 years old, and I was lying on the couch in my apartment in Denmark at the time, and I was just crying my eyes out because I wanted to make art, but I had this feeling of that I was never going to be an artist, and I just didn't know how to do it. And fast forward 7 years later, I said goodbye to my home country, to my family and friends, and I immigrated to the US and started art school. And that just opened like a whole new world to me of like, you know, wow, you can actually be an illustrator and make art for a living. Like, I didn't know that in Denmark, that I could do that.
That's incredible. That is incredible. And that must have sort of, well, it must have been a very life-changing experience, a very expansive, life-changing.
It really was.
Experience.
It really was.
Oh my gosh. Can we just talk about this for a minute? Like, literally tower, death, fool moment all in one, which Kiri's probably like, what? What? But I mean, that takes a lot to be in a country, want something so badly that you give up your culture, your home, you immigrate, and then you find out that, oh yeah, I can do this. So that's just, I don't know, that's super inspiring.
It was very fulfilling. It was like a moment of like, wow, this is what I was meant to be doing all along. I just didn't know how.
That's exactly right. And it's called shifting perspective as well. Like, you can do that at any point in your life. You can shift perspective. You want to think that something is utterly shit and bad, well, go ahead, think it. But then consider this, shift your perspective. Like, just change your mind. Good, bad, is it really? Is there such a thing as bad luck, good luck? Like, it really comes down to how you view that. And, you know, and what kind of message, medicine, or lesson there is in that situation for you. And this is probably something that's easier to discern as you are older. This is not to say that a younger person can't cultivate that poise and that wisdom in the moment. But it's something that you have to experience time and time again before you recognize that, hey, actually, I've got control over my perspective and I can change my perspective. Yeah. And I can look at things in a different angle. Whenever I need to, I can look at things in a different angle. And that's a beautiful thing. So despite your tower moment, we'll call it, despite your tower moment, you had enough gusto to just go, fuck it. I'm going to go to America. I'm going to enroll in art school and I'm going to give it a red hot go. Very full right there.
And to bring it back to tarot and our little show here, I mean, how many times have we heard people who are watching or who we sling cards for say that they want to start reading professionally and they don't feel like they can do it, or they want to start a YouTube channel but they don't know what they do for content and they're not creative enough, and et cetera, et cetera. We hear this stuff all the time.
So much of creativity, and I think a lot of people don't realize this, but so much of creativity is just doing. It's just sitting down and doing it. And when you first start out, it's not going to be good. It's going to be really bad and it's going to be awkward and it's going to be awful. But if you stick to it, it's going to get better, and it's just going to keep getting better and better until at some point, you can position yourself as an expert in it because you've done it for so long. You just have to have the will to sit down and to learn and to put in the time.
That's exactly right. That is exactly right. And that comes right back to tarot. You want to learn to read the cards. It's more than just memorizing cards. It's more than just, reading books. It's more than just listening to YouTube videos. You have to build up a rapport with your deck. You have to build up a rapport with the cards. You have to cultivate your own personal experiences and therefore meanings to each of the individual cards. And when you start looking at the tarot as a lens through which to view your human experience, you will understand that you have a story. You probably have 100 stories for each of these cards. And you can lean into those stories when you're reading because you have experience. You've had direct contact experience. You've cultivated the wisdom of that card already. You just need to figure out how it is you're going to remember all those experiences and associate them to your cards. And
absolutely.
That's how I teach my tarot, by the way. If you ask me to teach, that's what I do. I'm like, well, tell me all about yourself. They're like, what's that got to do with anything? Well, actually, it's got everything to do with the tarot. If you know yourself, you know the tarot. There you go. Sweeping declarations.
That's a very interesting way of looking at the whole tarot deck. But like a lot of the symbolism in the cards does speak to, you know, various life experiences. So
that's exactly right. And the beautiful thing about the variety of artwork is that everybody, like with the three of cups, for instance, this is probably, you know, the easiest one to discern. It looks like a group of women and men and women, a group of people having a good time, right? And it's very easy. It's very easy to look at that and go, wow, they're cheersing and celebrating, they're dancing, they're in euphoria. It's lovely. It's a lovely card, right? And so when you look at that card, the way that I feel about that card, that good experience, that getting together, the essence of that deck, the card itself, is going to come out of my creative mind in a very different way to ALLORAH'S or Chase's, for instance. They're going to have their own unique example of a Three of Cups, each individually. It all means the Three of Cups, but it's unique examples. And so with multiple decks, what you get to experience is multiple takes. It's that beautiful diversity of experience, but still the end result is exactly the same. It's the Three of Cups moment. We each get to that card in various different ways, but it's the essence of that card that resonates. And when you look at all of these beautiful decks being created right now and well and truly before my time, you get to experience the evolution of human experience. And, you know, and look at each card as a key to a door or an anchor point or some kind of mystical, amazing creative PowerPoint.
There's this really interesting fantasy illustration blog called Muddy Colors, and one of the art directors for is it Orbit Publishing in the US, she's writing a series right now on how tarot relates to like being creative and being an artist and like just life experiences in general, how that path of discovering like your inner artist just like relates to all the tarot cards. It's really interesting.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, we'll have to remember to link that one. What is it called? Muddy Waters?
Muddycolors.com.
Muddy Colors. All right, that's one for remembering.
It's going to be a series, so it's going to be an ongoing series. She's written the first post. I'm not sure when the next one is coming out, but it's going to be featuring a bunch of tarot decks.
Very, very good. Very, very good. That sounds really, really quite fascinating. I'd like to read that. And now I'd like to ask you, Kiri, before we start to shift into slinger mode, you got to work with Barbara Moore, who's a big gun for tarot. She's authored many books and is just a remarkable individual in her own right. And you got to work with, yes, and you've said she's really sweet because you got to talk to her. And you also got to talk to Anne Moura. Now, I grew up on these books, like, Anne Moira's. Like,
it's my funny, because I have Barbara's phone number in my phone.
Can you text her and say, you need to go on Spread This Witches? There's some crazy Avalon chick fangirling hard over you right now.
I would probably pass out. I would pass out.
Yeah. There would be the 60s Beatle, you know, extravaganza experience.
I'll email her and let her know about you.
Well, she's a remarkable woman. In fact, if you looked at most of my mainstream tarot decks, they're Barbara Moore. I recently released a Barbara Moore deck because it was the Mystic Dreamer. Loved the book, but I had issues with the deck. But I held on to it for a very long time because it made up what I liked to call my Barbara Moore collection. So I had a collection of her decks because I'm a collector. So it's a beautiful thing. So you got to work with Barbara Moore, who is, like I've said, a big gun. And that must have been a really incredible experience to speak and be able to work with someone who has such knowledge on this industry.
Well, so again, like when I was working with Barbara, I didn't know what her background was. I didn't know she was a big gun. So to me, she was, you know, just another editor because I had no idea.
See, that's perspective. She didn't know. We are all here going, She didn't
So
know.
when I talked to her, like it was just, you know, very low key, a nice, pleasant conversation. Very easy to work with, extremely easy to work with, which is always wonderful as an illustrator, because sometimes you have clients that are extremely picky or they want to micromanage you. And both Lynn, the art director, and Barbara were so easy to work with. It was like awesome, especially for a project of that scope. So yeah.
If you get Barbara Moura to come on STW, I will buy you a pony.
I'm going to tell her that. I'll be like, Barbara, I want a pony, so you're going to have to get on the show. Please. Get me a pony, Barbara.
It's what I need to be happy. It's an Australian Brumby.
I put out a self-published calendar last year with unicorns, but they're unicorn ponies. Little fluffy pony unicorns.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh.
One more side note before we get to slinging, because I've had it in my head, Avalon, ever since you were talking about it. You know, I think one of the reasons why you and Anna get so many interjections about how come, you know, she's not put forward in the deck, et cetera, et cetera. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that you guys, when you are on YouTube, like creating the deck, you get along so well, and it seems like a team project. Do you know what I'm saying? Like a collaboration versus no, I hired her to do this for me.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Honestly, it's not my style. It's just not my style to squash someone's creativity. If I just said to Anna, this is how I want it, and this is how it has to be, you know, then I wouldn't get the best. I wouldn't get the best out of her. I know that because she needs
so
room
many
to move.
like clients realize that what you just said, because that is so freaking true. You know, if you want to get the best artwork out of any artist or illustrator, let them do their thing.
Yeah,
that's how you're going to get the best.
Restrict it. And that's it. You have to have some trust in your artist as well. You have to have some trust in your illustrator. You need to say, okay, these are the elements that are very important to me, like color-wise. I'm feeling a bit of this, I'm feeling a bit of that, I'm seeing a bit of this, and I'm seeing a bit of that. And I could give Anna a scene, and then she would tell me what angle I need to put that in. And she would say, I'd make the color of this because of this reason. And she gets to then flow with that, and she gets to include that into her creative process. And she does essentially beautiful artwork. It dawned on me, however, the other day that I have an incredibly colorful deck. My deck, my Bonestone and Earthworsh, is so colorful. It is incredibly colorful. I'm so...
That's one of the things I really like about the Green Witch Tarot too. When I had first finished like all the card illustrations and I just had it on my computer because I work digitally, I didn't realize how colorful it actually was until I received the print copy, and I was like, oh my goodness, it's a rainbow. So many colors.
So it's so high colored, and I never knew that it was going to look like that. In the end, I just didn't know, and then when I saw it all, I was like, wow, I didn't envision this. I didn't envision anything, by the way. So it's not like it went contrary to my idea, but it was just really unique to see it. I'm like, it's just such a vibrant, just a colorful cornucopia of human emotion in there, and you know, to consider that we worked individually on every single card, it's an incredible experience. So, and Moura, please tell me she's amazing. Just tell me she's amazing.
Yes. She absolutely is. She's so sweet.
Oh, gosh, we must have her on this show as well. Do you think that she would resent being harassed by 3 YouTube
I don't think she would come on the show because she's very private. Like she's not like, she doesn't even want to have a Facebook or anything like that. So
wow, come to think of
but
it,
she does own a shop. She does own a shop in Florida, though, doesn't she?
Yeah, she has a shop and she has a website for the shop, but she doesn't do any social media or anything like that.
That's incredible! Wow. Good for her. That's keeping a good solid boundary.
Yeah.
So we'll just get back to Barbara Moore and just have a little chat to her, because you know what? So many people would love to speak to Barbara Moore, honestly, from a tarot perspective, to be able to have that opportunity to ask her questions about her thousands of decks. Well,
have you ever tried to just email her? Because Llewellyn has a submission form and that goes directly to her on their website. So you can't just email her.
You just made a very big mistake. You just made a very big mistake saying that out loud on a live chat, especially with Avalon present.
Well.
That's why the publishers put submission information on their website. So you want to contact them, you just go.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know, I know Christopher Penzak puts his own email address out there to contact him, and you know, Christian Day does as well. Like many people actually do. It's quite normal, I suppose, when you think about it. But there's got to be a way of contacting people. But this has prompted one quick question before we move on. Were you approached by Anne Moura, or did Llewellyn see your artwork and then decide to pair the two of you together? How did that go?
I was approached by Barbara because Anne Moura had seen the deck by Gary Lippincott, the Fairy Tarot, or something like that, and she really liked his work and wanted something akin to that, and he couldn't do it, so they had found 3 other artists that they suggested to her, and she picked me. And then I did some samples from them. I had a couple of illustrations on my website. One was of Sleeping Beauty that they really liked, and they wanted the deck to be in that style. So that's
interesting.
But it was funny, like because it's 79 illustrations all in all from the time I started, and because I was so early, like into the freelance career at the time I started doing the deck till the time I finished it, I learned so much about drawing and painting. So I had to go back and repolish some of the earlier cards I had finished because they were not nearly as good as like the later ones.
Isn't that interesting?
It's really tricky keeping that same style when you're learning and developing, because it's over so much time. You know, it's like 15 months from start to finish. And when you do that much work, you're just going to learn. Like, you can't not learn.
That's incredible. That's incredible. And you've been able to sustain quite a healthy career now as an illustrator. Are you permanently associated with Llewellyn? Are they planning on using?
No. So I signed a contract with them, and I think all illustrators do this. They sign a contract where they're under I think it's a 3-year contract, where if you come up with any other tarot projects in that time, you have to pitch it to them first, so they get first refusal on it. But other than that, I haven't done anything else with them. I wouldn't be opposed to doing it, but right now my schedule is fully booked. I work full-time as an artist, and I have a lot of projects going on. I'm getting into doing young adult book illustration right now, so, and I'm working on my own book as well, so.
Congratulations. Look at your life unfold from Denmark Tower to America, the land of the free and creative and opportunity, all that kind of business, and now you're thriving with people like Barbara Moore and Moira. It's just an incredible story. It is an incredible and very inspiring story. So on that note,
Sam was saying in the comments that the tarot deck by Gary Lippincott is the Victorian Fairy Tarot, which is correct.
Oh, I have that one. Yes. Who's Sam? Is this your friend Sam?
Sam. He's Danish guy in the comments. I'm gonna assume he's Danish because his name is Danish.
Oh.
Sorry.
I need to open my thing. All right. Well, let's do a little card slinging. Let's get in there and answer some of these burning questions that have been posed to us. We are going to start with not be right back. That's already happened, right?
Yes, that already happened.
Right. Claire G. What do I need to know currently for the next few months? What do I need to know currently? So it's an open reading. That's what we would call an open question. What does she need to know? What's the wisdom for her next?
So what do you do? Do you just draw a card?
So, yeah, so we do stack readings. So,
Get that card out of your mouth.
We need to explain. Okay, so for each of these questions, so we're all behind our computers shuffling whatever decks we've got. Obviously, you have the Greenwich Tarot. But then, so you shuffle, and then either a card will pop out or you'll draw one, whichever way you want to do it. And then sometimes, like, one of us will know that we're the one that's supposed to go first, and we'll work it out that way. And then we each go, and then by the time we get to the end, makes a full reading. And we'll help you along the way. I have Oracle today. I mean, I have tarot here, but I'll let you know if I feel pulled to pull tarot. But right now it's Oracle. So,
what Oracle, please?
Earth Magic and Sacred Earth. Earth.
She's earthing. I'm using the Beautiful Rebellion Tarot by Robin L. Cole. It's my new one. It's made from Pre-Raphaelite art. I recently unboxed it. I'm having a hell of a good time with it. Chase, you would die and go to heaven if you could riffle shuffle this deck. It is one of those decks that whenever I touch it, I'm like, oh, I've got a riffle shuffler's dream here, and I still hand over.
I can't handle it. I can't handle you with the teasing. I can't handle it. Why would you hand over shuffle if you can riffle shuffle it? Why would you do that?
Flexy smoothness. It's like flexy. It's sexy smooth. It's like poker card linen finish. Like it's made for it.
Stop right now. You will riffle shuffle that for me.
Never.
Riffle shuffle it for me.
I've got my card too, by the way. What are you using, Chase?
So I will be using the Hirohito Tarot, a new acquisition into my collection this week.
Oh, did you just say collection?
Listen, I've always called it a working collection.
Oh, now we got to put working in front of it because it can't be a collection.
Not just any collection, working collection. Working.
Well, you know what? You're a professional and you have to have your tools, right?
Have to. Yeah, have to.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I think I will go first because I feel like it and it's my birthday. So fun. I got the 10 of Wands. So for your next few months, Claire, I would say that you're going to have quite a bit of responsibility placed on your shoulders. I do believe that you might feel even a little bit fatigued by the level of responsibility and obligations. You're going to need to muster up some tenacity because while the 10 depicts burdens to a degree, it also depicts the end of a cycle. And so it's important to understand that it's sometimes like the final big effort, the final big push to get something across the line. So that's what I've got for you. 10 of Wands. Who wants to go next?
Shall I? Shall I not? Shall I? All right. Say what?
Go ahead. You go ahead.
Who?
I'll go last.
Who?
Chase, you go. I'm
going
last, and then we're going to help Kiri.
All right. So the card that I have drawn for you is the Page of Pentacles. Actually, can we just take a look at this card and just admire it for just a quick, oh my God, this deck. It's so just delicious. All right, so the Page of Pentacles. So the Page of Pentacles is literally like you could not have drawn a card that literally just repeated the question that you asked. So this is like the studier's card. So what this card is telling me is that what you need to learn, you need to go out and find exactly what it is that you need to learn. And that may not be an answer to your question, but in essence it is, because it's not going to be something that's going to come to you. You can't just sit and expect the lesson to come to you. You're going to have to go find that lesson. So in the things that you are involved in, the things that you're active in, the things that you are dealing with in your daily life, that is going to be your opportunities and your chances to learn something new and to let that be the thing that that betters you in the next coming months. So it is an active seeking. Don't sit and expect the question to come to you. You got to go find it.
Okay, Kiri, what do you have?
You're gonna laugh. I
What
got
is
the
it?
Tower.
Did you?
Oh.
Okay,
Well.
do you want to give it a go and see, and we'll help you along the way?
I think you should probably do it, because I mean, I know it's the death of something and the life of something new. It's like sudden change. Is that right?
Very good. You're doing well for somebody
So far,
who's
so
never
good.
read.
And in
Okay.
the Greenwich Tarot, it's called the Wild Hunt.
Ooh, so that's interesting, because the Wild Hunt kind of goes along with what, Chase, you were just saying. Like, you have to go out and find that lesson. And then the Tower there, or the Wild Hunt, also goes along with the card that Avalon pulled, because it's the 10 of Wands. And so you're going to be feeling all this heavy responsibility, and then it's going to be like a lightning strike moment where everything seemingly crashes to the ground, but for a purpose. Like, there is something that is going to come out of it. And then the card that I got is Stillness. It's like, so this is it. So basically, like, in summary, with every card that's been drawn, within the next few months, you're going to have a lot of upheaval. You're going to have a lot of responsibility in your daily life. You're going to be learning new things through your everyday experiences. You're going to be tired. You're going to feel exhausted. You are going to feel like your brain is going to explode, but it's all for a purpose. And so when that lightning strike moment happens, don't freak out. Kind of, just be still, because in stillness is where we actually hear spirit and what we're supposed to be doing. So meditation would be great. Journaling, anything that is just you going internal with yourself and digging out how you feel about certain things, what experiences you're going through and what lessons they're providing, and just trying to sort out exactly what it is that this particular stage of your life has brought to you in a positive manner. It's all about perspective. Yay! Who's next? Where did Avalon go?
Probably to deal with the children.
No. Abby has no children today. I know the children's schedule. Wednesday is Ab Day.
Where did she go?
She has no babies today.
Oh, well. So I think our next question is from Elena. Want to quit my current job because it's making me too stressed? When's the best time to do that? And I had 2 cards fly the fuck out of my deck, so I don't normally pay attention to those, but these like flew straight up into the air and like down on the table. So I have 2 cards.
So go for it.
All right. So the 2 cards that I have, and again, I'm going to hold them up and we're going to stare at them and we're all going to say, ooh, ah. So the cards that I have are Strength and the 7 of Cups, which is like beautiful, right? Such a beautiful, beautiful pairing. Very strong, powerful pairing. Can we just talk about this lion with the scorpion tail? Can we talk about that? Because, I mean, what other companion would you like to conquer over other than a lion with a scorpion tail? I mean, that's some real strength. God, I love this deck. So we have Strength and we have the 7 of Cups. So let's talk through this. So right now you're talking about how much this job stresses you out. What this is telling me with the combination of Strength and 7 of Cups is that it is time to switch jobs when you literally do not have the strength to do that. And when you know that that's happening, when you feel like you have other options. So the 7 of Cups, if we talk about a traditional 7 of Cups, this is not obviously a traditional 7 of Cups. It is a picture of a heart with 7 different beer mugs on it. But beer mugs and martini glasses and yada, yada, yada. So we're talking about a traditional 7 of Cups. It is a picture of a person looking at 7 different opportunities, 7 different ideas coming out of cups. And so, what this is telling me, again, linked with the Strength card, when you do not have any energy left in this, to deal with whatever you're dealing with right now in this job, and when in combination with when another door opens and possibilities open up for you, when you feel like you have that chance because somebody has approached you about another job opportunity, or whatever, whatever it could be. So when those two things combine, when those two things happen together, that is when you know it is time to move on and do something else.
And I pulled tarot for this one, and I got the Ten of Scepters, which in a traditional deck, that's the Ten of Wands. But I quite literally asked, when is the best time to leave your current job? And so first of all, you're handling way more responsibility than is in your job description. And of course, it's exhausting because it's always cumbersome when you work for an employer who you...
Guys, I'm really sorry, but I have to run. My husband needs me for something. Thank you so much for having me on.
Well, we really enjoyed having you. So thank you for coming on the show.
It was an absolute pleasure having you here. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your evening to spend it here with us. Thank you for enlightening us about so many things regarding your process. It was an absolute joy. Again, Kiri's links are all in the description box below. Have a wonderful evening, Kiri. It was a delight to talk to you.
Thank you so much. It was really interesting to get to talk to you all and hear about your whole experiences with all the tarot. And thank you so much to everyone in the audience. I hope you have a great evening/day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to this for a second before I lose my train of thought. So it's really cumbersome when you are good at your job, you do your job well, and then your employer expects you to do the job of an entire department or multiple people, and I feel like that's what this is saying. But also, because I literally asked when you should exit your current job and seek new opportunities. This, if you're trying to tell time by tarot, typically when Wands pops up, we're talking about the hottest time of the year. So whenever your summer is, it looks like there's going to be some opportunities coming. Okay, and who's Avalon?
Oh, I missed the question. I don't know which one you're up to.
Oh, you're good. We got it.
Okay, I'll let that one go then.
So that's your answer. When it's summer in your area, and then when the opportunities come and you are given, according to Chase, you're going to have a plethora of options.
I like this. I like where that went. So what are we up to?
We are up to what challenge will I face at next month's family reunion?
Oh, gosh.
Oh, God.
You poor darling.
It's another tarot question, hey?
Oh, I got a good one, and I think I should start.
Okay.
Okay. I got the Ace of Cups, which is the quintessence of the element of water. And the Ace is about that fresh, crisp, emotional experience. It's a time when you might be bracing for the worst, but what you might be getting is pure delight. You might be getting a different side to your family. You might be able to connect with your family in a very different way. The Ace of Cups is a very happy card. It is the cup runneth over. It's a time of experiencing emotional joy in a very personal and fulfilling way. And so I don't necessarily think that if you're bracing for the worst, I'm not saying that there will be the worst there. Or if the other cards come out in a bit of a negative slant, what I would consider is focusing on the positives of each interaction with each of your family members, because you're going to find that there is a little gem there to be had and a little experience that might actually nourish your heart.
Chase, go ahead. Because, yeah, you go.
Okay. Avalon, what card did you pull?
Ace Cups.
Okay. So, okay. So what I have pulled is the Eight of Cups. So what Avalon was talking about, so we can interpret it, and I want to continue on with kind of what she was saying, but in a, I guess, a Kabbalistic sense. So we're now in the same scenario, in the same question. We've traveled from an ace, a beginnings place, into an A place. So now we are investigating something. We are, I'm sorry, what?
Hold that up again. So are all the, okay, I'm sorry, I have a question about this deck. So are all the cups that image with different amounts of cups?
Correct.
Okay, I'm sorry. Like
no, it's
what?
Like that's
what the hell?
That's his interpretation of like a pit deck. So all the cups are the same with different amounts of cups. The swords are so on and so forth.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Back to my reading. So we have gone from beginning. Let me get myself back on track. So ace to an 8. Okay. So so now we're in this place of investigation. So for in the same scenario. So the answer would be, and like the message of this card would be that that's something that you are going to have to figure out before you get to the reunion. It's not something that you can just be like, well, I hope I just show up and everything turns out. You have to figure out really why you're asking yourself this question in the first place, so that when you get there, anything that will come up, you're already prepared for. So again, if things go negatively, like I think you're assuming that they will, you'll understand why. And with understanding why comes knowledge for us. And we can handle situations that come to us as best as we are equipped to. The more knowledge we have, the more power we have. So figure it out now. Start to really figure out that question right now. And then so when it comes time to, you won't be surprised by anything that somebody says or somebody does, or, you know, anything that could happen in that situation.
Okay, so I'm going to add on to both of your readings, and I think my card will explain it. So I actually ended up pulling from the Sacred Earth Oracle, and this is, I don't know if you see, okay, it says productivity. So I think when it comes to your family reunion, it's going to be a situation of everybody has an idea of what they want to be happening. And typically family reunions are very busy. They involve a lot of food, a lot of planning, a lot of getting organized and everyone together. And so I think in your case, in the case of your family reunion, I think everybody's going to have an idea of what they want to do, of where they want to go, et cetera, et cetera. They might even have like an itinerary or whatever planned out, but it's going to be up to you, or they're going to be leaning on you to take care of all the little details, or to, somebody forgot this or somebody forgot that, or can you run here, or can you run there? And I think it's going to be a very literal sense of you being productive to the nth degree. And I think that you just need to be in keeping with what Chase was saying with the 8 of Cups. Like, I think you just need to set boundaries and be aware. So it's not a bad thing to want to help your family out at family reunion or anything like that. But by the same token, you do not want to put yourself out there to a point to where you're completely drained and exhausted and you can't even enjoy yourself at the family reunion because you've been doing 800 million things and now you can't function. So I think that's the main thing there. And as far as feelings wise and all of that, Avalon drew the Ace of Cups. So I think emotionally you'll be very fulfilled and you'll want to take on these responsibilities. You just need to watch it don't go overboard. Yay!
Perfection. Well, we've got another one here. I know Chase is fading fast. He's just finished work, so he hasn't had his ritual wind down time, which is so important when you've done a massive big shift. You've got to eat something. You've got to get in your underwear. You've got to put your feet up. You've got to go through the processes. So we'll try.
Pretty sure he's in his underwear.
He's in his exercise pants, I bet.
You don't know me. You don't know me.
We so do know you. That's the problem.
You don't know me. You don't know.
I have to tell your artist how to schedule your rallies. I know you.
Really excited about that part of my night where I get in my underwear, though. That's really exciting.
It's a beautiful time. It's a beautiful time for everyone. Like, you know, you guys experience it, and me as a woman, when I take off my bra, it's the best thing in the world. Like, oh God, you've held me back so much today.
How I feel about clothes. The time I get to just like strip down is just the best thing in the world.
Oh, that's great. It's fabulous. Right. So we have got Christina Thomas. I would like to know if I'm on the right track in interpreting the messages I've received so far. It sounds rather mysterious. It does. So let's have a look. Tasty, tasty.
Who's gonna start this one off?
Me.
All right, go for it. Go for it.
Because I need yours to be the breaker, okay, and then ALLORAH'S to be the final up. And the reason for this is because I got the Two of Pentacles, and the Two of Pentacles is often depicted as the juggler, right? The balancing of contracts happens. So this is two opposing thoughts. This is two opposing theories, not as opposing per se as like the Two of Swords, but there's two things that are lingering in the air and that are potentially at that, you know, they're parallel to each other. And so I think that what you're looking for is a confirmation, like it could be this or it could be that. What I'm saying is that both are probably true. Both are probably right, and you simply have to learn to integrate both of them. But I'm not going to go ahead and say that full blown because Chase has got the medicine to this particular one.
All right, so the card that I drew was the Ace of Wands. So we're talking about putting something into action. This is, are you interpreting the message received so far? I mean, the Ace of Wands, as long as you are appropriately putting them into action, yes. You know, we can often, you know, bring knowledge in. Like somebody can, I'm trying to think of an example off the top of my head. Somebody can learn something and then completely misinterpret it somewhere along the way, and when it turns into action, it's completely the wrong thing. So we just want to make sure that you're taking in the knowledge the way that it's supposed to and turning it into the action thing. Can we just talk about this? Oh, the colors.
That's beautiful. That is really beautiful.
Oh, this
there needs to be some centering, though. I think with the two of Pentacles, it's often all those things up in the air, and so there's a lot up in the air, and there needs to be that center, that grounding force. So what you've got going on at the moment is probably correct. It's very productive. It's very industrious. Chase is telling you to, well, you know, determine, like ground, center, and then determine for yourself which is the course of action that you wish to take, and then get productive about it. ALLORAH'S going to tell you something that's a little bit more High Priestess mystical, of course.
What? No, so my cards are being super cheeky. So at first I pulled from Earth Magic, and it was very literal. And so then I pulled from Tarot of the Vampire. So I'm going to start with that one actually, because the Lovers. So what Av was talking about, with the Two of Pentacles is reinforced by the Lovers. So you have two options, but you actually have three, and you're not looking at the third one, which is what she was talking about taking both things and synergizing them and making them work together.
Are we talking about
Chase, what?
Are we talking about a threesome here? That's what it sounds very much like where this is going.
No, that's not where
okay. All right, fine.
Wishful thinking.
But I also feel like with the Lovers card, with that coming up, I feel like it's very much the symbols that you're getting are both have both masculine and feminine energy behind them. And I think that's why you're a bit confused, because you'll get one sign or symbol that's very feminine, and then one that's just like out of nowhere hits you in the side of your head, and you're like, what the hell is going on? And then oracle that I pulled from Earth Magic was radiant, summer solstice. So if you are in, which I think you might be, but if you are in the United States, in the Northern Hemisphere, it is almost the summer solstice. We're about a month away from it. So I think that around the summer solstice, that's when things will cement for you. That's when you'll figure it out. That's when everything will come shining through, will make brilliant sense to you, and will add
and you will
to
begin living your potential. That's the end of it.
And boom.
Boom.
Ta-da.
Boom shakalaka. That was the Messenger Oracle by Sandra Kuntz too, by the way. Beautiful. It's mostly ravens.
Beautiful. Mostly raven.
Look, even the back.
I love that deck. I love that deck so much. Oh my god.
Beautiful. It's absolutely stunningly beautiful. I mean, really. Okay, we've got Chrome 166 here. Should my summer focus be a project, a class, or just some intense inner solo work? Chase has got you covered.
Shall I?
Go, Chase.
All right. So the card that I drew was the Queen of Cups. Can we all say in unison? What does this say? Inner solo work.
Harness your inner moon priestess, your high priestess.
Right.
Do the mystic thing.
Can we just take a minute and look at this card and see how amazing it is? Can we just
It's beautiful. That is beautiful.
Isn't it though? Like it's just God, it's such a good Queen of Cups. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, and I got a good one too. And it's still very watery. It's Temperance.
How about that?
The Alchemist. So focus on the subject of alchemy, how to bring alchemy into your life as you're doing your inner workings. I feel this is a little bit more instructional. Temperance is that just delicious, divine balance and the synergy of so many different philosophies, ideas, and putting it all together to create a conscious energy that can then manifest into your path as a mystic. Oh my God, who am I? Oh, that's right, I'm Avalon the Witch. That's right.
And then, to top it all off, we have autumnal equinox, which is release. So this is very much metaphorical. Autumn is associated with water. Hello, Queen of Cups. So definitely that internal work, but also releasing some of that junk that you have built up inside. We all have junk inside that we need to clean out from time to time. So you need to take inventory and let go of what no longer serves you. Good Lord, who just said that?
We all have junk in our trunk. That's what I learned.
It's amazing. It's just.
I'm sorry, junk in the trunk? What?
Yeah, that's the takeaway, that we all have junk in our trunk. Was that not the message?
You are so random today.
Well, okay, Sarah Lockyer. Will my Winifred Witch business do well? Ooh.
Ooh, ah.
Ooh, ah. Ooh. Ooh. Well then.
Oh,
Go on.
I'm going to go ahead and say not at this stage because I got judgment, right? And you're lacking your divine epiphany. You need an epiphany. You need a little flavor. You're missing an essential component.
What is it? The world.
The world.
But this interpretation, you're right. But this interpretation is like very Calamity-esque. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and say that you need to have that. It's a rite of passage. Judgment is a rite of passage. It's laying all your shit bare and allowing yourself to evolve beyond that. You need to have an epiphany based on this cleansed new version of yourself after you've laid all that shit bare. Business is very much like this. We start off with a beautiful idea for business. We're very idealistic when we do. Then we do the business, and then we figure out, why the fuck am I doing it this way when that way is not suited to me? And you have that little trial by fire that goes on. And there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of self-judgment, inner judgment, outer judgments that occur. And everyone has an opinion. But the important thing is that you go through that trial, that you have that experience, that you lay your shit bare, that you burn it clean, allow it to be what it was, allow yourself to cultivate the necessary experience that have led you to this point, and then begin to harness from that fresh new perspective and have that brilliant epiphany, that idea for your business that goes beyond the status quo, beyond the normal. It's not been done before. It's not the same as everybody else's. That's what you need there.
Yeah, and I'd say that that's dead on, because Vision Quest is the one that came up out of Earth Magic for you. Essentially, you need to have a little bit more experiences with your mystical self. And yeah, I just don't think that I think you can do it. I just don't think that you really have had that light bulb moment or epiphany, like Avalon said, or vision or anything like that. So yeah, spend some time in meditation, spend some time out in nature, look at where you're drawing your creative well from. Chase.
Yes.
As you know, it is my birthday, but you look sad. So I'm gonna give you a gift. I'm gonna riffle shuffle a deck.
Oh no!
Why are you going off camera to do that though? I need to witness this.
Yeah, we need visual confirmation.
I'm just not sure. Hang on. Wait for it.
Yes.
Okay, can you see? I'm going to do it off my lap, okay? I'm going to try and do it on my lap.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, my stars.
Oh my God. Okay, why don't you finish off the reading with your world card?
All right, so I mean, basically what everybody has said. So this world card is predicted by Armageddon, and it's a very negative look at the world card, but it is what it is. You know, it's a very like you see the world card depicted like this, and at first you're gonna be like, what the hell? As you start thinking about it, you're like, oh, well, yeah, I guess kind of, because you reach the end of something, and you can either grow from it or you can break from it, right? And so usually when we go through a journey, we want to grow from something. And so we have this very calamity-esque view of the world card. Well, like Allora and Avalon both were saying, they both used the word evolve. So, you know, when something catastrophic happens, like, you know, Armageddon happens, are we going to be the ones that survive and evolve from that, or are we going to die out with it? So as far as answering your question, there has to be this sort of evolution process that happens before success happens. That's it.
Okay, last question, because you have to go to bed. Okay, Thebode.
I tilted my monitor, so now it's all funny.
Abby Ab's gonna love this one. Is there something I should know concerning my love life?
Ooh.
It's the soap opera question.
I'm ready to go. The Knight of Pentacles. That you're being far too practical about your love life. You're being far too practical. In fact, I would say that you're being a little bit boring. Like, you have what it takes. You have the romantic side. You have what it takes, but you're moving far too slow. Of the knights, the slowest moving of the knights is the Knight of Pentacles. So you wait too long to seize your opportunities. You've got it all there. The Knight of Pentacles he has his own innate charm. It's very grounded. It's very earthy. He's solid in his structure. He's very, he's a very brilliant, resourceful individual, right? He's got what it takes. He has a great life. He's got, great options, great opportunities to give. He's a good catch, but he moves so slow. He's just he's being far too practical, far too level-headed, far too grounded, and he's just not pouncing on the opportunities like, say, the Knight of Wands would. And, maybe you need to harness a little bit more of that. Alternatively, you might be a little bit too fiery and in need of some of this sort of slower-paced approach, and to be a little bit more grounded and a little bit more discerning and a little bit slower moving. So we'll see where that goes.
I was gonna say, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I don't know. What card did you get, Chase?
I got the 8 of Pence.
Ooh, okay. You probably will go last.
Oh, yeah.
Because I got the 5 of Cups. So first of all, you need to flip the script and stop feeling sorry for yourself. I don't know if you, so this is a card of grief and grieving, and
hangovers and nausea.
Hangovers and nausea. Why did you pull this morning?
No, but I have experiences.
But when we're talking about a love life, maybe you are focusing too much on relationships that you have been in prior, and so now you're comparing every new possibility to what you previously experienced. So that's not going to get you anywhere. And 5s are about change. So I would say change your perspective. Stop dwelling and looking at what can go wrong, and start looking at what can go right, and start looking at it from a more positive point of view, rather than fucking this again type attitude. Because that's not a good attitude to have if you're looking to have a new love in your life. A love hangover.
Soren says a love hangover.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe she or he was a complete nightmare and you're gun shy.
Yeah.
That is totally feasible. Now. Yeah, and now you're like,
you're really regretful and a little distrusting and a bit like, I don't know about that. I'm just not going to try, or I'm just going to move really, really, really slowly.
Okay, Chase, bring it home.
All right, so we've got the 8 of Pentacles, and this is the suit of this deck that I wanted it to be more. So, I feel like I'm looking at this like old 90s Wiccan website with the spinning pentacles, and it's very cheesy. And I wish they looked different, but they don't. So this is what we have.
Be the Bones Spanner No Flesh Tarot Chase.
Right. It's nothing of that caliber. But the message remains the same in that the 8 of Pentacles is the card of hard work, and it's asking you really how much work have you put into previous relationships as opposed to this relationship that you're wanting to cultivate. Have you put in a lot of work and it's turned out to be shitty, and are you putting that same work amount in now? It's asking you maybe you didn't put enough work in before, and so now you're not putting enough work in now. Same breed same, if that makes sense. So it's time to change it up and really put genuine effort into this. And in order to do that, in order to put a lot of hard work into something, you have to put away things like fear and sort of this Black Panther moment, getting back into what I know. And, you have to sort of let go of this Black Panther moment where you don't know what the outcome is going to be. That is like the Black Panther is just such a strong animal presence. It will hold back people from doing so much good stuff, all because we don't know what the outcome is going to be.
Is that true? The Black Panther holds.
Yes. I feel like you were like in my personal space right there. Like I was really
because I know what she's wigging out about. Because she's had some things occur in her own life, and now she's like, oh.
Well, no, the very first shamanic journey I ever did was with a Black Panther came to me. The second, a Black Panther came to me. The third, a Black Panther came to me. Every time I journey, I see that Black Panther. It's not prominent, but I see it. I see.
I dream Black Panther comes in my dreams all the time, because I always worry about all of those things that I don't know. But yeah. So basically, anyway, wrapping all that up. So basically, you have to put in work. You have to put in genuine work, and that's gonna take the Black Panther moment to just really get over. Is it gonna work? Is it not? Is it not going to work? We don't know the answer to that question, but the key is to try. We're not living in this life to sit back and not do anything. We're here to make moments and to make connections and connect with people and have relationships and to succeed and to fail. We are here to do all of those things, and we're not going to do any of that if we sit back and don't work at something.
That's exactly right. Beautiful.
And Av, I pulled a card for your birthday.
Aww. Is it the skull?
No. It says repetition.
You're
stuck in a loop.
Didn't I say that to start with? I'm in a loop. You're in a
loop, hey. Like for real.
Folks, this is a serious story. I'll just put a little something out there.
What did I miss?
I was in a car accident over the weekend, and it ended in an ambulance and a fire truck and a police officer, or a team of them actually. And this was shortly after my Samhain celebration. Now, how's this? My husband was in a car accident 4 days before me, and our car has sustained significant damage, $7,000 worth of damage, in fact. We got the quote back from the Smash Repair. I wasn't driving when I got into a car accident on the weekend. I was coming back from a coven gathering, and it was my coven sister, but I was in the back seat of the car, and we got hit in the back. The driver that hit us said that they never even saw us. So it hit us at full pelt, pushed us right into the center of the roundabout. I was sore, like I'd been hit by a truck the next day. Nobody sustained any significant injuries. And the car that hit us was completely undrivable, like it completely crumpled the front of the vehicle. But I've had some interesting turns of events that have led to repetitive situations.
Wait. We have to back up even further, because when I came to visit you, we were on our waterfall tour, and the air conditioner just went out like random as hell. The AC in that car went out. And just before I got there, your other car broke down.
Yeah, as someone also backed into the silver car. So the silver car that we drove, I parked it at the shopping centre, and somebody backed into it and caused quite a bit of damage to the bumper. It didn't have a scratch on it until that moment. And then what happened was the air conditioner went out. We ended up paying $1,200 to fix the air conditioner. A week later, the car was totaled. So, and interesting fact, though, I'm definitely going on a 4,000-kilometer road trip. And I've got everything planned. I'm traveling to see my father in Tasmania. I live in the far north of Australia. Tasmania, Hobart, Huon Valley is in the far south. You actually need to you leave mainland Australia to travel on a ferry and then get to Tasmania. So that's how far south it is. And I've got the yips now. I'm a bit spooked.
And then you said that thing about Jaguar, Chase, and that had me wondering if
Black Panther.
Or Black Panther. Yeah, that had me wondering if I don't know, the Panthers involved somehow, like keep you from going. I don't know.
Interesting. It's very, very interesting. But serious situation. It was a serious thing. I was very tender. I haven't been on my game of late because I feel a little bit like shy, a bit delicate. But today I feel good, and it was just very interesting when you said Black Panther to me, because I've seen Black Panther. In fact, I might just pull a card on my car accident. So I don't want to pull a card for my car accidents. What is going on with my car accidents?
What's going on with my car accident?
Apparently I'm being productive in some way because I got the 3 of Pentacles.
What did you get?
Emperor.
Ooh.
That's the second Emperor I've pulled, and the Eight of Pentacles is haunting me as well. Why?
Emperor.
Ask yourself some questions, put in some work, and try and figure out why it is that you're stuck in this repetitive cycle of things. Can we take a minute though and just look at this card for a second? Talk about how amazing this is and how beautiful it looks.
Beautiful.
Oh my goodness.
It's beautiful.
Oh, I want
Do you
this
have
as
a mask?
body. Do you
have a masculine deity trying to get your attention?
Potentially, yeah, I do. Yeah,
Okay.
funnily enough.
Well, you need
Ooh.
to like pay attention then.
Oh my God, I think I just had an epiphany.
Are you okay?
I don't know yet. We'll have to see. I've got ideas.
Okay, well, you have to keep me updated. You're welcome.
Okay, I will.
Us updated. I always get left out because I'm still here in the States. Thanks.
Okay, you know what? Don't start.
Cat's Chinwag, I am going to the pagan festival that's happening in Tasmania. Yes, I got my tickets to the Huon Valley Midwinter Festival. It's a pagan festival. Well, it probably isn't actually a pagan festival, but it looks pagan. In fact, guys, do me a favor because you love me. Just Google it on Instagram. Like, Google it on Instagram. Search for it on Instagram.
That's not how that works.
I'm so old now.
We gotta wrap it up, guys, because Chase is
right.
gonna get to bed.
I have to sleep. So much sleep.
Yes. All right, Chase. Well, you get your sleep, and I'll just bring it to a close. So I'm going to go ahead and say a big thank you to everyone who joined us today. We absolutely adore spending this time with you. It is such a great opportunity for us to service our community by obviously slinging some cards, but also to touch on some sensitive, delicate topics and to get the thoughtful juices flowing. And hopefully we say beautiful things of nourishment here. And I think today, because we touched on quite a few sensitive subjects, that we might have actually said a few nourishing things, but we might have also said some things that make you go, well, fuck you. And that's totally okay as well. That's totally okay as well. The idea is that there's conversation makes you think, and by thinking, interacting, listening, we create a great community based on mutual respect and understanding. So much love. Thanks for hanging out with us, and I will talk to you soon. Cheers.
Yes, indeed. So everything that Avalon said, I mean, thank you for holding the space for us, and I hope that us holding space for you, being out in the audience, you guys, that we have, allowed you to express yourselves in a very productive way and to think about things and grow in some kind of way. It is my dream in my life to educate people and to inspire people to do great things, and it's all very selfish, to be honest, because if I surround myself by people doing great things, then I in turn have to do something great. And if we surround ourselves in that way, then we can all just do really great things. So I appreciate you guys, and I love you guys, and I will be talking to you soon. And that leaves Laura.
Me. Yeah. So thank you everybody for being here. As always, we want to give a big thank you to Kiri for coming on to our show today and sharing with us some of her experiences. It is fascinating to get to talk to someone who didn't know anything about tarot and was approached by these big names to use her art for tarot. She is absolutely delightful. All of her her website link is below, which has all of her links on her website, but her IG is below. She also has a YouTube channel. She has a Patreon. Check her out. She's awesome. And yeah, if you like what you saw today and you want to give us some props, feel free, share the channel, like the video, all that good stuff, because we are forever trying to grow the community, especially when it comes to tarot and oracle, because it's something that we're all passionate about. But I will talk to you guys soon. Much love. Avalon, take care.
See ya.